The more friends that you find who are able to enable your drug habit, the more drugs you'll be able to do. Because sometimes you have to break a bitch.
For the final that you came here for, the one derivative humanity, the one I abhor. I need a minute to eliminate forever what the everyday bullshit that I did you out.
We're almost there, kids. The next time out to Brony, we're gonna unleash Dr. Wolf, which hopefully will become a new series, either as a part of How Not to Brony or its own show. We're still working on it. Everyone I showed it to in Limbo seems to be really hyped about it, and everyone agreed it should be saved for episode 100, which, yeah, sadly will be next time. Naturally, your love and support will help the project, along with Patreon, link down below, but basically, it will be DWK meets Dr. Wolf. The following came late last week, when news broke of Lightning Bliss's full-body reconstruction surgery. As you can see, allegations of hair transplants, a tummy tuck, possible horn extensions, a dangerous eye corrective surgery, which is all elective, and what appears to be a rub-on tan straight out of the bottle. For shame. Lightning Bliss has had all the money for this self-improvement, but still couldn't donate to fix this discarded plushie that looks like a refugee from a mad scientist project. And now that we got all that out of the way, as I was saying during my last stream, or possibly even the last two streams, here is Big Z Little D, who has utterly and totally annihilated yours truly, beating a dead horse. Jesus, ZD, you couldn't even come up with your own original series. That's a Fable Tales gimmick. Now, after 21 hours, I was smug and I took a screenshot here after blocking ZD. You know what? Maybe that's not fair. Maybe 21 hours isn't enough time to point and laugh at a channel that has 3,400 subscribers. But what can you expect from a channel that does loop videos as well as Let's Reacts? Now, I'm gonna remind everyone that when I told ZD in that KP stream, at least half of you watched, because it did over 1,000 views, on How Not to Brony 98, the part on ZD was 1 minute 45 seconds. That's it. Where in my subjective opinion, I stated I couldn't stand ZD. I thought he was creepy. And that's it. Not that ZD was a sexual predator, not that ZD's friends needed to avoid him. That's your guys' cross to bear. If he walked away then and there, it could have been over. Thankfully he didn't, because now I have content. This is just my opinion. I took this remark here that implied some kind of healing of a sexual nature. The good news is, ZD, I'm not here to pick up a DSM-5 and try and explain why I think that you're a sexual predator. I don't have a doctor's degree. I am, however, gonna do the kind of analysis that I'm known for, a cross-comparison, and see what the fans think, or rather, my audience. The entire audience, anyone watching in, you don't have to be my fan. This is from Mr. Medicare's channel. It's called Tinseltown Comes Tumbling Down.
And some of the stories surrounding it are just unreal. Juliana Margulis says Steven Seagal and Harvey Weinstein tried to sexually harass her. When she was 23, Margulis said a female casting director sent her to Seagal's apartment at 10 p.m. to read a scene. The casting director pushed the actress's objections by offering to reimburse her cab fare and promising that she would be present as well. But when Margulis arrived later that night, she found herself alone with the action movie star. She set me up, Margulis said of the other woman who arranged the audition. The encounter with Seagal quickly turned threatening, the actress recalled. He made sure that I saw his gun, which I'd never seen a gun in real life, Margulis said. I got out of there unscathed. I don't know how I got out of that hotel room. I sort of squirmed my way out. She said Seagal tried to turn the audition into a sexual encounter with a tactic also allegedly practiced by Weinstein. It always starts with, I'm a healer. I want to massage you, she said.
Dear ZD, I understand that Mr. Medicare isn't a doctor. I'm sure that girl accusing Harvey Weinstein and Steven Seagal isn't a doctor either. And truth of the matter is, ZD, if you would have just stated, all right, Aguilar, you caught me. I was trying to score some E-ass. I just wanted a little erotic roleplay, and you caught me just trying to smooth talk. I probably would have just stopped talking. I probably would have just stopped looking. There's a remark here about ZD referring to his micro-macro fixation as it's totally not a fetish. Let's say interest. Something about there being a switch where a man can stop thinking about material in a sexual manner, and that is somewhat true. It generally involves 5 to 30 minutes, maybe longer, maybe a little less, maybe a little bit more, depending on the guy. But I've never heard a climax called a switch before. I am an old bastard, so hey, I just might be out of the loop. ZD, if you would have learned to shut the fuck up about your micro-macro fixation. If you would have been able to go without saying micro-macro community, unprovoked, without anyone asking, surely everyone here has seen the clip from The Dick Show where Digi says,
means that I am a huge fan of illustrations of little girls
and big girls
getting fucked.
the real problem here is ZD. It's not just the fact that you're creepy, it's the fact that you won't shut the fuck up about being creepy. You're proud of it. I am the last person in the world to kink shame. And believe me, ZD, I assure you, Buttons, Eden, or Cookie isn't the only person that you've made feel uncomfortable with all of your bullshit. That's really it. You can ignore this. You can keep heading down the AJ the Autistic Pony route, where you let an aspect of your personality become so tiresome that even less and less people want to put up with you. And believe me, there are mumbles. After Leo Convoy gives you some advice, do not run back to Jace and Vita for a second opinion. I do not wish to talk to you, I do not wish to think about you. I am, however, very proud to have been willing to step up, although be it second in line, and say, yes, I'm done. ZD, I enjoy girls with big breasts, many men do, but I wouldn't say I'm from the big boob appreciation community, at least not sober or unironically. Again, take that advice or don't. But you called Buttons pipsqueak and said that it wasn't sexual. So you would call a 10-year-old pipsqueak. You would do so in a micro-macro RP. I'm asking. You know what? Don't tell me, go tell Vita. I mean, if it's not sexual at all. If it's not sexual, you've likely already done it, right? These are just random questions, musings, not making any accusations. It's a question. ZD, you are not the Sir Mix-a-Lot of the micro-macro community. No one is asking what you're into. Now I would have let that gone there if it weren't for your first video that you directed at me.
Well, well, well. Would you look at that? Mr. Hypocritical Pedophile himself.
How can I forget where you called me a pedophile and only stopped and started kissing my ass after I left KP alone? Bet you could forget about that by now. So here goes.
So I just got off work about an hour ago. And about 2 hours ago, I had a gun pointed at my face.
This reminds me of someone. Does it remind you of someone? I feel like this has happened to someone before.
If there was one behind me, I have no idea. I immediately shut down. I've never been more afraid in my entire life. I'm not making that up. I'm not lying. It was a shock. I immediately got to my knees. I had my hands up. I was quivering.
I can picture it. Quivering. That's the word. That's what he is. A quivering twat.
After Z talked all that good shit about me, about being a sexual predator, after all ZD's talk about me being a racist, 2 urban street kids robbed ZD.
I was sitting in my car. I just finished delivering a pizza. And all of a sudden, my driver's side door opened. And there was...
Dick Fat. Is that what you're going to say, ZD? We're going to say Dick Fat? Dick Fat robbed you again? Did it break into your house? Oh, woe is me.
Right here. Right here, pointing at my neck and then up at my face. And then there was another guy on the other side of the car.
And this motherfucker came into my room after this happened and wanted sympathy from me. Here, let me put this into context. ZD, you are the ultimate fucking beta male. I would never ask Toon Critic, Performance Major, or Dusky Novel for anything once I found out what they did. I might tell them to drop dead, metaphorically speaking, because YouTube's terms of service. After all this, ZD, do you not understand what a dishonest, disgusting prick that you are? But let's get to one more thing before we move on, ZD.
I'm done. I'm so freaking tired of it. I'm going absolutely freaking mad. I didn't expect to freaking get this big, and I didn't expect, my past and everything to get all out there. And
Anthony Aguilar.
it just keeps freaking, it's just constant barrage. Like, all my videos are like, I've been up for so long and I'm so stressed right now, and it's just...
Soon, ZD. Soon. That's another thing. I've had people ask me why I wound up blocking ZD the first time around. Every time that I made peace with him, he'd turn around and bite me in the ass. Until Buttons accused him of being a sex offender, and suddenly, magically, he became my best friend. For however long that peace lasted, to anyone who is considering being ZD's pal, his guy, his amigo, I don't recommend it. In my own subjective opinion, he's threatened everything from lawsuits to attacking people around me. You're a cranky, irritable little man, and I'd like to apologize to the whole of Limbo for having them put up with you for as long as they did. This is from the PhotoAnon call. Alright, so in the unlikely event, or the likely event that I'm completely fucking wrong, I apologize, but I did unlist the stream in the meantime, since Sheldon seems to think that you're innocent, and I've dealt with
Appreciate it.
I've dealt with a crazy bitch before myself.
Definitely.
Yeah. What am I asking again? See, I wanted to bring ZD, but I know he's an annoying radio edit.
Anyways, we're trying to ask about the these allegations towards you from...
There are 2 that I have. Well, 3, but I don't need the 3rd one. At least not yet. Oh, one more thing, ZD. You mentioned that people attempted to defame you. And you also talked about legal charges. Fun thing here, and this is again just a layman spitballing. There are no charges to the best of my knowledge for attempting defamation. Quite frankly, one of the elements of defamation is damages. Your language suggests that there were no damage, so by all means, sue me. And judging by your view average, which went up as a result of you feuding with me, I should be sending you a bill if anything. There is, of course, the fact that truth is an absolute defense against defamation. I do believe in my subjective thoughts that I'm not offering as any kind of professional or fact. So once again, sue me, motherfucker. You'll never get past the hearing. Not to mention, if you were so pissed off, as you were, when Amos and Andy stuck you up for $40, how are you going to pay for a lawyer when Josh Scorcher can't? I think we'd all like to see that. So here's a clip from the PhotoAnon call. I wanted to bring ZD, but I know he's an annoying... I could stand behind that statement, ZD. That was back in July 12th, where I had to bide my time and practice not throwing up in my mouth being around ZD. My whole point is, I have always felt that way. I did in fact give ZD a try. I do feel that I was giving you subtly hints, specifically when you were offering me your voice acting skills. And I will admit, it is good. Your voice acting is fine. I just can't stand you. After all, you do sound like the Looney Turtle, and as much as I hate and loathe Eric, his voice acting is also fine. I might even go so far as to say above average. He's also a prick who's tried to get me on the hook for murder, but that's another story, and I feel like I addressed that already, so let's not get sidetracked. This is from a 46-minute call about PhotoAnon, who again, I'm sorry to.
Like,
Sheldon mentioned, again, I'm not throwing any making any aspersions. I know Sheldon said that he was a friend of Chalice. I don't know if these are edits or anything like that. I'm expecting other people with a better eye because I'm not technically savvy in the least. I had a moment of clarity in stream while we were looking into PhotoAnon. Hey, let's not have another Spockter theory thing. I mean, without Photoshop, but how hard is it to get Photoshop? Yeah, look. I just want to put out the possibility that it might be fake. If anybody fucking has a better eye than I do, look into it.
Yeah,
like I said,
I've never met the guy.
I'm heading onto Facebook right now to see if these match up. I'm curious to see if these are screenshots from the computer or from the private message chat app.
Yeah.
Because if it's on a Samsung phone, then I'm shit out of luck. Because I know there's different setups.
I think it's PC because it does it's using word search, but I don't know. I don't use Facebook, so I'm completely out of my own.
Now, there were a lot of people jumping to conclusions when the PhotoAnon thing went down. Not just ZD. Though ZD is in the call on the front line, but not to put myself over, I was one of the people willing to give PhotoAnon a fair shake, which is why I didn't bring ZD along to the original first PhotoAnon discussion.
Do video editing. Do you know anything about image editing?
Yeah, I do Photoshop.
All right, take a look at it. Does it look Photoshop?
Okay, yeah, that's what he's doing. Yeah. You don't rush a miracle, son. You get shitty miracles.
I'm not saying anything in the first bit.
Proud of you, Angel.
Most of the stuff that I absolutely can tell is a bit of cropping. But
Okay.
other than that, it looks like the white is the exact same shade. I'm not seeing any artifacts.
The spacing is good.
Yeah, spacing is really good. So if this was a Photoshop job, it's pretty damn impressive.
And it's no one has any there's no heat about this guy as far as anyone knows.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah,
Well, again,
I'd never heard of him.
I've never fucking heard of him.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm seeing here, this looks legit, all things considered.
Now, to be fair, to be 110% fair, editing is the editing work that you might do for a YouTube channel, the same thing that you might do for photoshopping a comment. I was very upfront. This wasn't my field of expertise. And when we turned to ZD, who at least, if you grade on a curve in relation to the rest of the people in Limbo, he was a super editor, again, grading on a curve. You all know the saying, the one-eyed man is king in the realm of the blind. And in situations like this, there are prudent, well-thought-out, tactful men who have mentioned all their shortcomings and why they might be potentially wrong. And till this day, no, I can't hang in a conversation with ZD about editing. Not at all. He could fucking do laps around me for it. But we almost buried a guy who ended up being innocent because you went off half-cocked. If you're ZD's friend, you tell me if this is an isolated incident. I went back and listened to this call, and it seems pretty apparent we went as far as we did because of you, ZD. Now, you can point out FNGR. You should have looked into this before the stream, and I started that call, everyone poured in, and while your mistake is potentially understandable, potentially you'd have to speak to other editors. I'm way out of my expertise, and quite frankly, I'm sure you get yelled at enough after giving your best. I mean, you do work for KP, and I wouldn't want to be that guy. This potentially looks like shoddy work. I don't think there is, in fact, any one specific major fuck up that you did while you were around me, ZD. Not one specific major fuck up. But there certainly were enough little fuck ups. And as far as good things go, I remember you being a fan of Breadsword. And don't get me wrong, I do love me some fucking analysis. You are a fan of the arts, and yeah, I would call that channel art. I still feel comfy putting a distance between you and I. Now, Leo Convoy thinks that you're a good kid, and you need to grow up some. And you know what, ZD? Your comeback response, you should understand it when someone's saying maybe you're just being a dumb, horny kid. I won't even rule that out. And when I say kid, I think that ZD is at least 18. I could be wrong. He's young enough that there's still a lot of room to grow. And if your fireback is, well, you have room to talk. Absolutely. I'm a juvenile asshole.
You know what? I always hope deep down that this is all some bullshit edit. I'm not gonna lie, because I hate finding
It
out
did look
that
pretty on the
there's-
nose, didn't it? Like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
it looked from
Oh yeah, like let me
like,
throw some of these in Photoshop real quick. Let me see if I can find anything in there.
like it's especially dangerous in a community
Well,
like
ZD,
this.
could you
where
screen
such-
share so we have something to show people?
Yeah.
No, my like computer's fucking dying
Okay,
right
no,
now.
that's fine. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just give me a minute. Yeah, I tend to dedicate all my RAM to my softwares when I open them.
Okay.
Otherwise, they'll just run too fucking slow.
You're the second editor I know who works for KP whose computer is dying.
Well, I'm buying a new one. I'm buying a new one.
No, it just
right?
reminded me of Event Horizon, where he'd always be like, I have a shit
fucking
computer.
Event Horizon, yeah.
I was like, I could give you a computer. I don't need your pity, Anthony. I'm like, okay.
But no, y'all heard that apparently Event Horizon like
Now is not the time.
Not talk about that. No,
Yeah,
it's not
no.
the time.
You know what? I don't.
Right.
I've heard things, but I'm not going to talk about that right now because that's and this is an A and B conversation. And I will say this: pause might have been my little ulcer at times, but there were some really good standout moments. I can't think of a goddamn one with ZD. Hell, when we were looking at PhotoAnon, you took a moment to take a shot at Event Horizon just because he shit on KP. You are such a fucking super fan. It chokes. It gags me. It's why I know you blame me and not yourself. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.